This video will demonstrate how to enter aquatic invasive species monitoring data from the Wisconsin Citizen Lake Monitoring Network into the SWIMS database. So the first thing we need to do is enter our username and password, and then click the External Users and Volunteers box and click Login. On this next page, we can either choose the Fieldwork button and then click New, or we can go up to the top and hit Submit Data and then Submit Data again. Either way, it will bring you to the same page right here. For this first box, for the project, we can choose the drop-down arrow next to the box to see all of our available projects that we're associated with. In this case, we're entering aquatic invasive species data, so we're going to choose the Aquatic Invasives Monitoring Project. Based on that project, the system will automatically fill in all the people that are associated with that project. So I'm going to choose my name. And then the station should automatically fill in as well with the lake name and the station number. Our start date was September 2nd at 10 a.m. The form has automatically filled in too, based on the project. So we have our Citizen Aquatic Invasives Surveillance Monitoring form. And then our end date was also the 2nd at 10:30. You don't have to put anything in the document box. The fieldwork comment box is for any kind of weather information, lake conditions, wildlife you saw, other people that might have been helping you with the monitoring efforts, anything that might be useful information for somebody to know who's looking at this data later. Then you can click on the Next button. Now this is the page where we enter the results of all of our monitoring efforts, and for aquatic invasive species monitoring, this is a cumulative total of all of our efforts across the whole season. So the first thing we're going to do is enter the total number of volunteer hours spent across the whole season. So we spent 4.25 hours across the whole season. The next bunch of boxes here are looking at how intensively were you monitoring. So you may have just been tossing a rake from your dock or from a boat landing, or maybe you were really checking out the whole lake, all the beaches, all the boat landings, looking at docks and piers. This is the section that gets at that. So for this first one, did you monitor all beaches and boat landings? These boxes are going to have a few different choices in them. If you only monitored once over the season, you would just use the yes and no options. But maybe you monitored for AIS 10 times over the course of the season. You're going to be looking at these frequently, some of the time, not often, or never choices. So how often did you monitor all beaches and boat landings? I'm going to say frequently. And then we're going to have the same choices for the perimeter of the whole lake, docks and piers. Did you walk along the shoreline? Did you observe the entire shallow water area of the lake? Did you use a rake to pull plants out of the water? Did you check underwater solid surfaces like dock legs or rocks or trees? This next section is about what you found or did not find, or what you didn't even look for. And you don't necessarily have to be looking for all of these species. Let's say I was just looking for Eurasian water milfoil this year. I was really focused on that plant. I wasn't looking for any of these other species in the list. I would go to Eurasian water milfoil and choose yes or no. Did I find it or did I not find it? I'll say I did not find it. And these other ones, I would choose didn't look for. I don't want to choose no because that implies that I know what those species look like, I was looking for them, and I didn't find them. In this case, I just didn't look for them. So you'd choose that for all of these. Now, let's say you did find Eurasian water milfoil. Down here, there's a couple of other boxes at the end of the form here. This one is about whether you collected a sample and brought that Eurasian milfoil specimen to a DNR office for verification. So here's a bunch of DNR office locations listed. There's also verified with photo, no sample. That means that you took a picture of this suspected Eurasian water milfoil and you sent the photo to your local DNR contact, and they got back to you and said, yes, that is Eurasian water milfoil. There's no need for a sample. If that's the case, this is what you would choose. There's also did not take sample to a DNR office. So for example, maybe I live just down the street from the county land conservation office and I took it over to them and they were able to verify it for me. So I didn't take it to a DNR office, I took it somewhere else. So I'm just going to write in here, I took it over to the Polk County Land Conservation Department and they verified it for me. These last two boxes here are if you found an invasive species that isn't on the list already. Now you can click Save and Return, and that will bring you back to a list of your recently entered data. You can now go up to the upper right and click on the arrow next to Log Off to log out of the system.